الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. Al-Imam Muslim collected in his Sahih on the authority of Jundub ibn Abdullah. He says, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم من صلى صلاة الصبح فهو في ذمة الله فلا يطلبنكم الله من ذمته بشيء فإنه من يطلبه من ذمته بشيء يدركه ثم يكبه على وجهه في نار جهنم. He says that the Prophet ﷺ, whenever any of you perform Salat al-Fajr in Jama'ah, he is in the protection of Allah. فلا يطلبنكم الله. Let it be that هذا الحديث this hadith, subhanallah, speaks to many things. Mainly, the protection of Allah is something we don't value. And we don't see the generosity of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala extended to us everywhere. But especially when it comes to Salatul Fajr. He says, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, seek the protection of Allah, not only from the evil of the life of this world, whether that is places of evil, people of evil, circumstances of evil, Allah will protect you. Whether those things that are physical or things that are unseen, Allah will grant you that protection. And that protection is going to extend with you in a different hadith. The Prophet ﷺ, فَهُوَ فِي ذِمَّةِ اللَّهِ حَتَّى يُمْسِي. He will be under the protection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala until the evening. And if you were to pray Salat al-Isha, that will be extended to you again until the morning. And you are in a full circle of 24 hours with Fajr and with Isha in congregation. That is a beautiful divine gift extended to us. And he says, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, in a sense, those who are seeking the protection of Allah, don't let that pass you by. Don't let the protection of Allah. And this is just one aspect of the many blessings of praying Fajr in Jama'ah. It's just one of many. And he says, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, don't miss out on this. This is for a call for all of us. Also, another meaning to it is, if somebody has prayed Fajr in Jama'ah, don't mess with that person, in other words. Don't mess with that person. So how do I know people who had prayed Fajr in Jama'ah and people who don't pray Fajr in Jama'ah? Assume everybody prayed Fajr in Jama'ah. Because rule of thumb is, you do not transgress against the right of anybody. If anybody wrongs you, that's on them. Don't be the person who is reactionary. You want to get even. You want to retaliate. Because that is always in favor of shaitan, not in anybody's favor. Retaliation is never an attitude ever of a person who is seeking Allah and what Allah Ta'ala has for him. And that's one. Number two, people who pray Fajr in Jama'ah, they have entered in a covenant with Allah. And anybody who's granted and extended that covenant and that protection, Allah is the one to come to their aid and retaliation. And He says, don't put yourself in a situation to where Allah is going to come after you, should you. And in this incident, subhanallah, Abdullah ibn Umar has his son Salim used to work for Al-Hajjaj ibn Yusuf al-Thaqafi. Al-Hajjaj ibn Yusuf al-Thaqafi is a very controversial figure in Islam. In one way, he is, subhanallah, before he was in leadership as an army general and he turned out to be a very heavy-handed tyrant on one hand. On the other, subhanallah, he has a beautiful side to him. He was one of the masters of Quran, masters of the Arabic language, and he's from the tribe of Thaqif, known to be one of the eloquent tribes when it comes to eloquency of the language. He has that side to him. And subhanallah, Salim, the son of Abdullah ibn Umar, used to work for him as a soldier. And usually his verdicts about anybody who transgresses and breaks the law is execution. That's simple. And he was known for it. A man was brought in, and the verdict was for him to be executed. He handed over a sword and a piece of leather. Usually that's how they do it, over a piece of leather. And he says, take care of this one. This is to Salim. Salim took the man, walked away, and a few minutes later he comes back to Al-Hajjaj. He says, did you do it? He says, no, I didn't. He says, why not? He says, on the way I asked him if he had prayed Fajr in Jama'ah, and he says, yes. And I know from him, and he pointed to his father, Abdullah, the son of Umar ibn Khattab, and he says, I learned from him that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that anybody who prays Fajr in Jama'ah, he is under the protection of Allah. I cannot mess with anybody who is under the protection of Allah. And Al-Hajjaj bin Yusuf did not say a word. That's the side of the religious side, and fearful of Allah, mindful of Allah. He has those two different controversial personalities. And subhanallah, this goes to speak, subhanallah, of always being present, spiritually present, with these kind of beautiful meanings in our lives. And then Fajr is not going to be just any prayer. This is a prayer that hands you over a connection with Allah, the world of the divine, the path, many benefits of Salatul Fajr. Same thing goes for Salatul Isha. Salatul Fajr, Salatul Isha. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us a knowledge that is of benefit to us. قولوا قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم صلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد والحمد لله. تفضل حبيبي.